So my name is Richard Lucquet. I work for Verizon, and you guys probably know Verizon as a wireless provider. Some of you, if you're in the East Coast, probably knows Verizon as your cable and TV and internet provider. I'm actually representing the other side of Verizon that some of you may or may not know. We call it internally MediaCo, but it's basically the media company that is Verizon, that Verizon has become. Mostly with the acquisition of AOL and very closely closing the acquisition of Yahoo. And we're working on basically selling advertising. We're the third largest digital advertiser after Google and Facebook. And we've been working internally with both R&D team and advertising agency teams to work on AR and VR for advertising. And I'm going to talk in particular about print advertising. That's an old thing that everybody is familiar with. Everybody thinks it's going away. We believe that technology has a shot at reviving it and bringing basically print advertising back to life. And I'm going to share with you some of the learnings and some of the experiences that we've done. I'm going to start with an intro video where there should be sound too, I think. All right, so one of the key things that you've seen at the end here is measure engagement. And that's something that's pretty difficult with print advertising. I mean, the industry in general basically prints millions of prints. You know, how many people really bought the magazine or how many people drive through the freeway and see that billboard, but that's about it. You don't really know how many people are looking at it or if anybody engaged or did anything based on showing your prints. They're all fighting for consumer attention, and the common knowledge is that it's about a 4-second span of someone watching an ad, a printed ad. And what we're trying to do here is bring AR to a print ad in a way to measure more precisely engagement. And really for AR to succeed in that, it must become something that creates an experience that the users wants to do. So it's not only the brand who wants you to engage, but it's really something where you get to a point where you as a viewer, you really want to engage and you're looking forward to it. And that's the challenge we're in. And for that to really be successful, the content has to be made with an intent. And what we mean by that is that the creation of content and the approach that we have to do to creating content has to be with a cautious intent. And it's really hard on content creators now because it's really holding people to a new standard as far as creating content that will delight people when they use it. And it's no more, we've got to fill the page with a logo or we've got to fill the page with a tagline. It's really more than that. The opportunity, though, is that the print advertising is no longer bound to the physical limitation of what the page is. It will basically breathe outside the page. You've seen in the video someone playing with a 3D object on the page, and that's something very powerful that creates a positive engagement that can be measured. We can measure how much time people are spending on it, what kind of action they do with it, and it could be a call to action as well. With that, obviously phones and tablets now are getting better at sensing what they're seeing. Today it's 2D. You've seen a lot of companies that are trying to make with that, and results are okay. You've seen Pokemon Go, you've played with it. The little Pokemon is here. It's kind of floating on top of something, but it's not necessarily precise. Tomorrow, next year, smartphone will have depth sensing and will be able to accurately identify objects. The precision of the placement of the 3D objects will be much better, and that will greatly improve the experience. So we're really looking forward to that from a hardware point of view, and it's coming. The next problem then is the barrier of downloading an app. So today you see an advertising, and there may be a call for action in a corner that says, hey, by the way, that image could be way much more, but go download that app before you can interact with it. It's a pretty hard barrier to pass, and it's pretty difficult. Now, you've got a trigger image, you've got to go download an app, and while you're doing that, you're not doing anything else, and then you have to launch the app, and then go back to your page and look at it. So this is one of the big challenge of AR for advertising that we're trying to go after. The other challenge is keeping control of the experience, or not. And what I mean by that is, if you're a brand and you have already an app with your brand on the phone, you're expecting users that are already engaged with your brand to have that app, and now the printed ad that they have in a magazine or a billboard will call for you to go into their app, and with their app that you already have, that you already downloaded, then you can interact with the print. But if they don't have a presence, if they don't have an app, or if they don't engage enough with their users to the point that they all have an app, then it's the same problem. You've got to go and download an app that is dedicated just for that. So it's a big challenge. And even in VR, there's that problem too. It's kind of a segue, but just to get you guys to realize what I'm talking about. Familiar with Next VR, and they're doing NBA and NFL and a bunch of sports events. Today, if you want to enjoy their stuff, you've got to go with their app on a Gear VR. And even though Fox Sports may be sponsoring the thing and maybe working with them to render that experience in VR, it's not integrated in the Fox app. It's in the Next VR app. So once you're in that app, Fox basically lost their customer doing it that way. And in AR, it's kind of the same way. If you're Pepsi Cola and you have an app that does whatever, Pepsi, and all of a sudden you have an AR app that requires you to download another app to go interact with it, you're not going to stay in that environment, and you lose control of your viewer that way. So the secret to all that, at the end of the day, is to make sure that it's easy for publishers to create campaign. And I'm talking advertising campaign here, where the ease of creation and the simplicity, the access to technology is not a barrier anymore, and any advertiser, anybody can go and create a quick AR campaign in a few clicks and deploy that with their app that they already have. I'm going to show you another quick video that shows a product that we've done called AR Builder, that is basically a very simple web-based tool to allow creators, content agencies to create their own AR campaign. So that's a simple tool that our customers are now using. And then I'm going to finish by going through 3 or 4 use cases that we've done. One was with Elle magazine, where back in November they had a special issue, Women of Hollywood, where they had interviews of exceptional women in Hollywood that they wanted to share with their readers of the magazine. And what we did is we integrated our SDK into their Elle Now app that exists on mobile. And when you buy the magazine, you would use the Elle app, look at the cover of the magazine, and the cover of the magazine would come to life, and the person would start talking and being interviewed right in the middle of the magazine page. And the few things we learned here is, first, we needed to do an integration inside their app, which was really key for adoption, so not having to download yet another app. And second, we also learned that the video shoot was very important to work hand in hand with the graphics and the photo designer of the page, so that once you look at the page, it wasn't switching to a completely different environment, but you were staying in the same look and feel and the same color and everything. So those are things that we learned with Elle. The next one we worked with was Cosmo magazine, and now we worked with a brand as well, Maybelline, where we had an e-commerce integration. So you had a Maybelline, not familiar with it. You looked at the advertising, and it was showing a how-to video of how to apply makeup and use it. And at the same time, we integrated with their website for buying directly from the app whatever product was being advertised in the magazine. So that's a very effective way to measure engagement and have direct correlation between the advertising in a magazine, how many people interacted with it, and the sell-through that comes with it directly from the app. Internally, we did an experiment the past holiday season over Christmas in 2016 with our retail store, where this time that was actually before the other one in time, we had to deploy a standalone application. And that was really difficult because now we had customers coming in the store. We had the little pamphlet that had all the week deals, and they had to go download an app to then look at it to effectively interact with object. But we've done really interesting things here. We added interactive 3D objects to it. You saw in the previous video the drone that the user was basically flying with, and then could directly go and connect to the backend buy website from Verizon to buy it directly from the store by playing with it on his iPad or on his phone. So that was interesting, but definitely the standalone app deployment is a big barrier to it, as we've already talked about. The latest one we did was with Time Life magazine, Sports Illustrated. So the May edition of Sports Illustrated has 3 or 4 different activation in there. If you download the Life VR app on your phone or your tablet, it comes now with a VR and AR option, and if you click on the AR option, our SDK basically comes to life, and you can interact with some commercials. Coors did a commercial there. You can watch 360 video of the Mount Everest expedition that's got a coverage in it. So it's extending the content of the print by adding videos to the article. They've also used the templated experience, which is really a good validation of our tools as far as making sure that it's simple to create those experiences. And it was a mix of brand advertising and content augmentation, so good learnings on this one. And all of that is basically run on a complete platform that is basically run by RYOT Lab and Environment, that are 2 of our teams internally at Verizon that design everything from creating the content, training a trigger, integrating the environment SDK into your customer's app, publishing the app or an update to the app, and then you get the engagement data from the users playing with the AR experience. And that's about it. Thank you.